Good day, ladies. I'm so happy to have this association with you because I can teach you how to lower your risk for so many diseases that are linked to menopause and which cause so much pain and suffering. I just used 4 words that are critical to your ability to make good management decisions for your menopause. Do you know what those 4 words are? They are cause, risk, association, and link. These 4 words and understanding the differences between them can make all the difference in the world in your ability to use information accurately. The critical thing is to understand how these words differ. They do not all mean the same thing. Unfortunately, though, most people don't realize that they all mean different things. So I'm going to explain each one, give you examples, and ensure that you never confuse them or their meanings. If you've ever used these words or even heard these words, you need to watch this video. You'll probably never use or interpret them the same way again. So I'll go through each of these words one by one, and then I'll compare and contrast them so that you can see their differences. The first word is cause. The word cause means that something sets the stage for a specific outcome and results directly in that outcome. So if A causes B, then A starts the process. A is the very reason that B comes about. So the words cause and effect go together. Without the cause, the effect does not occur. So the word cause is very specific. So if A causes B, you should not get B unless you have A. And not only that, A must precede B. And not only that, the timing of when you had A has to coincide with the correct timing for it to be able to cause B. In other words, if it takes a long time for A to cause B, then you can't blame A for causing B if you were exposed to A for only a short time before getting B. This is one of the most common misunderstandings of the word cause. Additionally, the more A you have, the more likely you will end up with B. And the higher the dosage of A you take, the more severe B should be. So the word cause is very specific. It's not a word that you should use lightly. So let's look at some examples. Here's a pair of scissors. If I use these scissors to cut my hair, did the scissors cause my hair to become shorter? Of course they did. If I hadn't cut my hair with the scissors, my hair would not be shorter. So the scissors caused my shorter hair. Now, what if I put some conditioner in my hair and my hair curls? Did the conditioner cause my hair to curl? Or might it be that my hair is curly due to genetics? Could it be that the conditioner simply revealed the curl that was inherent in my hair even before I applied the conditioner? The application of conditioner and the realization that my hair is curly could be coincidental. Do you see how easy it is to assume that something is the cause when in fact it's merely a coincidence? See, we tend to attribute cause much too quickly. And that brings me to the other terms we're dissecting today. What usually happens is that we use the word cause when we should be using one of the other 3 words, risk, association, or link. So let's address those words and determine how they differ from the word cause. Our next word is risk. Now, if you ask me, this is the most important word of all. The word risk means the chance of occurrence or the chance of danger. Risk assesses how likely you are to get a disease. One of the things I'll do for every disease associated with menopause is give you a list of risk factors that make it more likely that you will get a particular disease. One of the most important things for you to understand is that for almost every disease, there is more than one thing that can cause it. In other words, there are many things that act together to cause most diseases, and they are called risk factors. If there are 5 different risk factors for a disease, and you have 4 of them, you are very likely to get that disease. But if there are 5 risk factors for a disease and you only have 1 of them, you're a lot less likely to get that disease. Knowing the risk factors for each disease is very powerful, and that's because it gives you so much more control over reducing your chances of getting a disease. So let's use an example. If the list of risk factors that cause disease Z include A, B, C, D, and E, and you only have A, you may not be at high risk of getting disease Z. Or you may have all or most of the risk factors and still not get that disease. For example, 3 of the risk factors for osteoporosis are being thin, being white, and being blonde. But that doesn't mean that all thin, white, blonde women have osteoporosis. And there are many more risk factors for osteoporosis than just those 3. Most of the time, a list of risk factors includes some things over which you have complete control, as well as some over which you have no control. For instance, many diseases have risk factors that pertain to your age, your race, nationality, or ethnicity, your family history, your previous medical problems. You have no control over those things. But most diseases also have a bunch of risk factors over which you have complete control, like your diet, your exercise, your habits such as smoking, drinking alcohol, drinking coffee or soft drinks, and your weight. Some diseases have risk factors over which you once had control, but now it's just too late. You're too old. These include things like how many pregnancies you've had, how old you were when you had your first pregnancy. Both breast cancer and ovarian cancer have risk factors like this. And it's important to understand how the risk factor comes into play. Sometimes more of something decreases your risk, and sometimes more of something increases your risk. So the word risk encompasses many things. It does not mean cause. Something that increases your risk does not cause a disease directly. It merely increases the chance that you'll get that disease. And all risk factors are not created equal in how much they increase your likelihood of getting a disease. Some are much more significant than others, and their significance changes depending on the disease. When it comes to menopause and medicine, the word risk is much more important and much more pertinent than the word cause. Okay, now for the next word, association. Association means connection or contribution or correlation. It means that 2 things are commonly found together. It means that there is a good likelihood that if you have one, you'll have the other. But it does not mean that one causes the other. And it does not necessarily mean that one puts you at higher risk for the other. So, if B is commonly associated with A and C, then B is often connected to A and C. But it does not mean that B causes C. It just means that they are commonly found together. For example, if uterine cancer is commonly associated with obesity, it means that it is common for obese women to get uterine cancer. But it does not mean that obesity itself is the cause of uterine cancer or that a thin woman can't get uterine cancer. So the word association carries a much less significant connotation than the word cause or the word risk in the world of diseases. And finally, we have the word link. A link is a step in a process or a small part of an overall result. When you recite the alphabet, it goes A, B, C, D, etc. Each letter is a link in the chain. Together, they form the alphabet. Each one plays one small part in creating the entire alphabet. But it does not mean that A causes B, or that B causes C, etc. It's exactly like the links in a chain. So here I have a chain. You see all the links? Now together, they comprise the whole chain. But that does not mean that any one link causes the chain to be a chain. Likewise, one link between something and a disease does not suffice to cause the disease. It also does not mean that the chain can't exist if you remove one of the links. So when you hear that a factor is linked to a disease, do not overestimate its significance. So there's a link between traumatic head injury and Alzheimer's disease. That does not mean that traumatic head injury causes Alzheimer's. It does not mean that you will get Alzheimer's if you've had a traumatic head injury. It just means that for some people who get Alzheimer's, having had a traumatic head injury in the past was one step in the process of increasing their chance of ending up with Alzheimer's. Now, there's one final term to include in this discussion. Just the other day, a woman asked a question in the comments section on these YouTube videos. She asked if progesterone leads to breast cancer. Well, you know how I am. I am very precise. I like accuracy. I'm not one to give you a knee-jerk answer about anything. So I responded with, "What do you mean by leads to?" And then I proceeded to delineate some of these differences in terms. That's what made me realize that I needed to create this video for you. The term leads to implies a direct or indirect cause and effect sequence of events. It means that in the sequence of A, B, C, A causes B and B causes C. It doesn't take into account other factors. It's sort of a mathematical thing. This plus this equals that. Most things just aren't that simple. Leads to really isn't a term that has a place in anything pertaining to medicine or menopause. It's just too vague. So be careful with these terms. Be specific about the relationships between one thing and another. I call them relationship terms. So there you have it. The differences between all these terms that pertain to relationships between the effect of something on a disease. As usual, I've made you a chart summarizing this material. Here it is. You can find this chart just below the screen you're watching now, or you can go to my website, menopausetailor.me. On my website, you'll see a menu item that says YouTube Video Tutorials. Hover over that, and then you'll see a sub-menu that says Charts. Click on Charts, and you'll have access to all the charts I've developed for these videos. You can print them out or whatever you want. They'll really help you with the bottom line and all the things I've taught you. All right, that ends our session for today. Join me next week when I'll discuss the differences between race, ethnicity, nationality, and religious affiliation. Believe it or not, Most people do not know the differences between them. And knowing the differences is critical to your being able to determine your risk for various diseases. So go to my website, schedule a one-on-one if you want one, subscribe to my channel, and follow me on social media, which includes Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Bye for now. I'll see you in a week.